Hello and welcome back to the Most Dangerous Podcast, the podcast that investigates weird and wacky and unusual things that have happened through history and time. How are you this week, Fraser?
Wow, yeah, I'm good. Has it been that long since we did one?
It has been
I'm
a
good.
while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've had a few
So
technical issues and we've had
yeah,
to upgrade our software and stuff like that because it just wasn't working.
no.
So hopefully this will be a bit more streamlined, a bit more fancier. We'll just see how we get on, I suppose.
Yeah, so we've had a couple of weeks off, so I'm excited to go. You've had this story printed out for so long. I think the paper's yellowed, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gone a bit faded. There's a lot of dust on it because I've got a dusty house. But yeah, we'll get through it today anyway.
Yeah, definitely. We won't beat around the bush. So yeah, what have you got for us, James?
Well, I've got a tale. It's not. It's been done loads and loads and loads. This one. So if you listen to any other paranormal podcast, they've probably done it before. I think there's definitely been a film about it. There's probably been TV programs about it as well. And if you go on to YouTube and the like, then you can actually go and visit there and visit this house and stay there. But nevertheless, we do have listeners that are further afield than the UK. So I thought I'd do it anyway because they might not have heard of it, and we can just sort of talk away through it and just get to people familiar with it because it is pretty good. It is the Black Monk of Pontefract. This is England's most violent haunting.
Wow. How do I know Pontefract? I'm sure Pontefract springs to mind for some reason.
It's in West Yorkshire. I don't know.
West Yorkshire. I think I've probably been there. Oh, I have. I think I've been to some holiday park up that way.
Maybe, yeah. It's not far away from where we are, so you've probably driven through it or something.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's what we're going to be looking at today. Are you strapped in, buckled in and ready to go?
Yes, yeah, I'm quite comfy. Yeah,
right, should we just get cracking then?
Yes.
Excellent. So, few hauntings in British history have inspired as much fear, controversy, and fascination as the case of the Black Monk of Pontefract. Known to some as the most violent poltergeist haunting in Europe, the events that unfolded at 30 East Drive during the late 1960s have sparked decades of paranormal investigation and debate. From flying objects to pools of water materializing on the floor to levitations and apparitions of a hooded figure dressed in black. The story sounds like something straight from a horror film. And in fact, it is, because they made a horror film based on this story.
Really?
But for the Pritchard family who lived through it, it was all too real for them. So this, or tonight, or today, or whenever you're listening, is the chilling story of the Black Monk of Pontefract, a legend that still haunts Britain today.
Amazing. Can I ask, or is this going to spoil things? Does anyone live in this house now? Is it still about, or is it just like a?
Yeah, somebody owns it, which we'll go on to talk about it later on. It's no one actually lives there per se.
Right.
It's as I say, we'll talk about it. But there's a big kind of paranormal tourism going on. There's been a big boom in that, where people sort of like buy up haunted houses and haunted places, and they rent them out for people to stay the night there and things. And that's precisely what's happened to this place. But we'll talk about that.
That's something we've said we'll do one day. Stay in a haunted house. Yeah.
But like I said, you can go on YouTube, and there are people who've stayed there the night and they do the paranormal investigations with all the gadgets and things like that. So if that's something you're interested in, go and have a look. I don't really like those shows personally. I think they're a bit boring, but because it just seems to be people sort of like sat there for ages talking to themselves, and nothing really ever happens. I've seen some decent ones, but generally I'm kind of like, I get sort of 20 minutes in, I'm a bit like, nothing's going on.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff, isn't it? Have you watched Squid Game?
Yeah, my daughter loves it.
Yeah, do you find you spend 45 minutes going, just get to the game where they all die?
I quite like the story. I mean, it is, yeah. There are episodes where they don't have any killing, and you're a bit like, oh.
You feel disappointed.
It's not what I tuned in for. So anyway, the town of Pontefract. So before we dive into the events themselves, it's important to understand the backdrop. So Pontefract is a market town in West Yorkshire, England, best known historically for its castle and its role in the English Civil War. It's famed for licorice. Do you like licorice?
As I've got older, I've started to like it a little bit. I wouldn't say I
Nobody likes
particularly
licorice.
like it yet, but it's one of those things that, when you get older, I think I'll have a glass of water. You start to do things that you wouldn't have done
Yeah.
when you were younger. So yeah, it's not. I wouldn't pick it, but I would eat a bag of
Licorice, all
licorice also.
sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not keen on them. I don't think you get it anywhere else. I think it's just a British thing.
Yeah, in America they eat a lot of the red stuff, the red rope
Oh,
licorice
yeah.
stuff.
Is that
Which
licorice? Is
isn't
it?
licorice at all. It's just
No.
sweets, isn't it?
So I don't know if licorice comes from Pontefract, but it's very famous for it. Maybe they've got the best licorice or something. Yeah. So by the 1960s, Pontefract was a typical working class town with rows of red brick houses like those on East Drive. I've got a picture for you. This is actually 30 East Drive. I told you we've got a new podcasting platform. It's good, this, isn't it?
Swish.
Yeah, so built as council homes for post-war families. As you know, when the war finished, the government built loads of houses for people. And this is one of them. So underneath this quaint image, however, lurked a dark history. Pontefract was once home to I think it's Cluniac Priory, like a monk priory-based thing. Cluniac, something like that, a priory. And later, this site was the site of public executions. Some research believed this historical darkness might tie into what happened at number 30 East Drive. In August 1966, Jean and Joe Pritchard moved into 30 East Drive with their two children, Philip, aged 15, and his younger sister, Diane, aged 12. They were a respectable, ordinary Yorkshire family. Joe worked as a factory worker, and Jean was a homemaker. They had no interest in ghosts or the paranormal. And their move to East Drive was a fresh start in a quiet, safe neighbourhood. But almost immediately, their peace was shattered.
Unfortunate that they had no interest in ghosts.
Yeah, it would have been good if they did, because this would have been ideal for them. I think back in those days, in the 60s, nobody talked about stuff like that. If something happened to you, if something weird was going on, and you imagine, because think about it, back in them days, you go to work, you work in the factory or down the mine or whatever, and then you go to the pub with all your workmates, have a few pints, and then go home to your wife, have your dinner in bed, and then you rinse and repeat. Now imagine if you went to one of those working clubs with all those blokes that you work with, and you go, do you know what, Joe? You never guess what happened to me last night. I seen a ghost. It just wouldn't, you'd get,
no.
It just wouldn't happen. It just wasn't. So I don't think people really spoke about it. Even if weird stuff did happen, I think they just kind of went, well, that was a bit weird.
Life was different. The women were busy, scrubbing the washing and doing the homemaker stuff, and the men worked sometimes 6 days a week. And
it's just things. It's just people kept things in. I don't think people spoke about stuff as much as they do now. So the first signs of trouble. So the earliest signs, in fact, came when Jean and Joe were away on holiday. Philip was staying at home with his grandmother, Mrs. Sarah Scholes, and she was watching over the children. Now, I think that's wrong. I think Diane went on holiday with them, but what's his name? Philip stayed at home. Now, there are reports that Philip and his father, Joe, didn't actually get on too well, which, I think that's probably quite normal for a teenage boy and a father. So I don't know how substantial those claims are, but I think one of the reasons, he is 15, so I think he was just like, I don't want to go on holiday because you do me head in, Dad. So they went, okay, well, you're 15, so you're old enough to stay on your own, but you're not staying on your own. Your grandma's going to come over and look after you. So on that day, so I'll just read through what I've got and I'll sort of explain a bit further if I need to. So Mrs. Sarah Scholes was staying at the property looking after young Philip. It began with pools of water suddenly appearing on the kitchen floor. Sarah mopped them up, only for more to appear moments later. Thinking it was a plumbing issue, they called the water board and this inspector came round. Now, remember, this is back in the day when if you called the water board, someone would be round that within an hour. It's not like today, it'd be like in 6 weeks. Someone popped over there and then. and he couldn't find anything wrong. Soon after that, white powder rained down from nowhere in the living room. Cupboards began swinging open by themselves. Then the family witnessed something even stranger. A plant was thrown across the room by an unseen force. Loud crashing sounds were heard upstairs, and when they investigated, they found drawers and furniture overturned. Again, no one was upstairs. The activity grew worse when Jean and Joe returned home from their holiday. Doors slammed, lights flickered, family photos were smashed and slashed. The objects disappeared and reappeared in odd places. But then the attacks began.
Okay.
Now, before we go into the attacks, I just want to sort of elaborate on that sort of bit there. So what I've heard is that, like I said, the parents are away on holiday with Diane. Now, this is in August. It was around about August time. It was really hot outside, apparently, on this particular day. And Joe was outside playing or just chilling, reading a book or something like that. And his grandmother was inside in the sitting room area. Now, she went into the kitchen to get herself a drink or whatever and saw this pool of water on the floor. She thought, bloody hell. He's been in here and he's got himself a drink and he's spilt it or something, not cleaned it up. So she mopped it up. Then a bit later, she went back and there's another pool. So she mopped it up. Then she went back to check and it just keeps appearing.
Yeah.
So, she's questioning Philip, what's going on? Why are you spilling water and not clearing it up? What's all this? What's happening? And he's going, I don't know what you're talking about, Grandma. I'm literally outside. So then she goes to sit down and Philip comes in after sort of sitting in the garden. And it was Philip that actually noticed this white dust coming round and sort of formulate around the grandmother. Now, the grandmother reports to be is absolutely freezing at this point, but outside it's August, it's a really hot day, and Philip's been outside. He's like, well, it's not cold, Grandma, what's going on? And all this, and then he notices all this white powder and swirling around. Now, unfortunately, what they did, once it had stopped, they cleaned it up. So no one knows what it was. So, I suppose not your first instinct to think, we'll take a sample of this and see what the hell it is. Yeah. But yeah, so there's no evidence of what it actually is. No one's done any test on this white powder, but apparently that was that's what happened. No, I do actually. I forgot to do this, but I do actually have a photo of the kitchen where these events took place. So this is the kitchen where it took place. It looks a bit different from how it was, I imagine. But if you look closely, you can actually see a pool of water. I'm only joking. So that's the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. So realistically, the plumbing's all down one end in that kitchen.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not that they got a washer in one place and a dishwasher in the other and stuff like that.
Did you say the pool of water was under the sink, wasn't it? So it was near.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't say on the kitchen floor. Don't know. So the activity escalates then. The focus of further disturbances seems to be Diane, the youngest member of the family. She would wake up with bruises and scratches. Her hair was pulled. She was once dragged up the stairs by an unseen force, screaming in terror. Witnesses, including neighbours, a local clergy, saw lights turning on and off by themselves, heavy furniture sliding across floors, and loud, guttural breathing when no one else was present. One of the most terrifying incidents involved a group of visitors who witnessed a spectral hand materialized and slapped Diane across the face. Despite the fears, the Pritchard refused to leave. Joe was adamant that they would not be driven out of their home, so the family tried to live alongside the entity. So what actually happened there is that I think it was a couple of neighbours that came over just to visit, for afternoon tea or what have you. Yeah, and they were just sat there. And if I recall from what I read, the lady who came over, she had a pair of gloves, and she took them off, put them on the side, and then she was thinking, "What have I done with my gloves?" And apparently, they looked over at the door in the sitting room, and they saw a hand round the bottom like this of the door, and it was the lady's gloves. She's like, "What is going on? That's a bit weird." And then as they were looking, they looked at the top of the door, and as they were looking, they saw the fingers of the other glove come round the top of the door. So they're basically looking and seeing these two hands. I mean, it's quite a stretch, a full door as well.
Yeah, it's 7 foot or something.
And they saw this hand sort of come round. So, they're freaking out a bit, going, whoa, my gloves are moving and they're around that door there. So I think she grabs them or something like that and puts them on the side. And then as they're about to leave, the glove floats around, finds Diane, just slaps her, gives her a slap right in the face. It's something like that. I mean, don't quote me. It was a while ago when I was doing my research, but it was something to do with, yeah. But yeah.
It's very very 60s, isn't it? Hey, they're my gloves. Not try and work out what this is. It's just they're my gloves. Give them back.
Yeah, but I think once that happened, the ladies whose gloves they were, she just refused to wear them ever again.
Yeah.
I should have got her name, really. But anyway, got plenty to be going on with here. So now, after all this activity, enters the Black Monk. So it wasn't long before the Pritchards and others began seeing something more tangible than just poltergeist effects. They described a tall, hooded figure, cloaked entirely in black. His face was either hidden or hideously deformed. He would appear silently in the corner of rooms or at the foot of beds. Dubbed Fred by the family in an attempt to normalise his presence, this was no friendly spirit. Fred was hostile, particularly towards Diane. On one occasion, she was thrown onto her bed by an invisible force, and then the figure materialized and loomed over her. The figure was soon named the Black Monk due to its monistic appearance, and a chilling theory began to form. As things got worse, the Pritchards turned to a local clergy and spiritualists for help. Exorcisms were attempted, but each time the activity intensified afterwards. One priest was said to have fled the house after holy water flung itself back at him. Mediums who visited the property claimed they sensed a malevolent ancient presence, one that had ties to the land itself and not just the house. The family tried to ignore it, to reason with it, even to befriend it, but nothing worked. So that's the Black Monk. There's loads of other kind of events. Somebody claims to have taken a picture of the Black Monk, but I couldn't get the format to work so I can't show you. But if you Google Black Monk, you'll see it's kind of like just this sort of black spectral thing at the top of the stairs. I'm not sure if it's real, to be honest, but it's quite interesting. As I said, this Black Monk was appearing. They would hear footsteps while they were sat downstairs, something walking up and down the hallway. It seems to be the focus of this thing seems to be this young girl, Diane, who was getting thrown around, and she was getting sort of pulled and pushed everywhere, her hair pulled, and like I said before, she got dragged up the stairs by something that was unseen. She got thrown onto the bed, all sorts of things like that. So for some reason, this whatever it is didn't seem to like the young girl.
Right. So
I suppose that the best thing to do is try and look at the origin of the Black Monk, try and see, if it is a real thing, where did it come from? So the most compelling explanation of the haunting came from a researcher named Tom Cunniff. I'm pretty sure it's Cunniff. I can't see. I don't think I've missed an L out.
Cunniff's her name, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
The most compelling explanation for the haunting came from a researcher named Tom Cunniff, who investigated the case in the 1970s. According to Cunniff, the land on which 30 East Drive was built on had once been a 13th century monastery. He claimed that a monk had been hanged for raping and murdering a young girl, possibly his own niece. The monk was buried on the grounds in an unhallowed grave, and Cunniff believed that the spirit was now seeking revenge or some sort of attention.
Right.
Though no formal historical record has definitely confirmed this story, investigators believe the tale has some truth. The brutality of the haunting seems consistent with a spirit with a deeply violent past.
Sorry.
What did you do that for?
I was trying to do something else.
So, as with any paranormal investigation or paranormal case, opinions are divided. So, skeptics have accused the Pritchards, especially Philip, of orchestrating a hoax. So, if you remember, Philip was the boy, suggesting trickery, mischief, or mass hysteria. They point to the attention the case received and argue that the family had a motive for fabrication. However, many independent witnesses, including local officials, clergy, and even journalists, have confirmed seeing phenomena themselves. Notably, several guests of the house described events that occurred when the Pritchards were not even present. In more recent years, ghost hunters and TV crews have returned to East Drive and reported continued activity. Equipment fails, cold spots. Some visitors have even fainted in fear. The Black Monk haunting is featured in numerous books, documentaries, and ghost hunting shows. In the 2012 horror show, the 2012 horror film When the Lights Went Out is a fictionalized version of the Pritchard story, filmed partially on location in Pontefract. Paranormal groups from around the world now visit 30 East Drive, which is privately owned and available for overnight investigations, like we said. Visitors report eerily similar activities: scratches, shadows, sudden temperature drops, and unexplained sounds. It's become something of a macabre pilgrimage site, cementing its place in British folklore. In the years that followed the height of the haunting, 30 East Drive remained relatively quiet. The Pritchards eventually moved out, and for a while, the house stood empty. But whispers of what had happened there lingered in the town. Children crossed the road to avoid walking past it. Locals still exchanged stories, and paranormal investigators began to take a keen interest. Today, the house is privately owned by Billy Bungay, a film producer who worked on the film that we mentioned, When the Lights Went Out. He purchased the house partly to promote the film, but also because of his fascination with the case. Rather than turning the house into a museum or sealing it off, Bungay kept it as close as possible to how it looked during the 1960s. The result is a haunting time capsule. The old kitchen cupboards, which we've seen, the 60s wallpaper, and even some of the furniture are in place. Visitors can see the infamous stairs where Diane was dragged and the bedrooms where cold spots and apparitions have been reported time and time again. And yeah, the activity still does occur.
It's an incredible story. I'll tell you my thoughts on it when you're finished. But
yeah, okay. There's a lot going on. I perhaps didn't cover as much as I wanted to on the actual haunting itself, but this is just a sort of a background to where it is, what it is. You know, There's plenty, as I said, there's plenty of other resources that people can look into if they are interested, and maybe even if you wanted to stay. I did have a look at it actually. I think it's about £300 the night, so it's not cheap.
Really?
Yeah, he's obviously making a fair bit of money off it, but it's all, you just search it and you can find the website and you can book in if you wanted to, if you're brave enough. Ooh.
Yeah, I think we've got enough good fans now that they will all buy us a coffee, and then we can use the money to go and stay the night in a hotel and do some live podcasting from it.
Stay in a hotel.
At the hotel, the house.
Yeah, give me some money so you can have
holiday in London. Just sit there.
Go on a jolly. Cheers. Right. So since the early 2000s, 30 East Drive has become one of the most investigated paranormal sites in the UK. Dozens of ghost hunting groups, YouTubers, psychics, and documentary teams have spent the night in the house. So commonly reported incidents include sudden drops in temperature, especially near the staircase in Diane's bedroom, scratches and bruises appearing on guests without explanation, objects moving or falling without any physical cause, shadow figures caught on camera. I think we've got one, have we?
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Real detail.
Maybe. Lights turning on and off without power. and disembodied voices, often whispering names or growling. So several teams have captured audio of low growls, urgent whispers, and even a child's voice. This is on the EVP. Have you ever seen that? These ghost haunting things. Yeah, so one particular eerie recording caught what sounded like a voice saying, "Get out." And then people use thermal and night vision cameras. So some teams report capturing strange thermal anomalies. Others have recorded mist-like forms moving through rooms that appear empty to the naked eye. While skeptics argue that none of this is conclusive evidence of the paranormal, even hardened investigators have left the house shaken. One professional ghost hunter, after spending the night alone in Diane's bedroom, left at 4 a.m., citing an oppressive feeling that something was watching him from the ceiling corner the entire night. He probably didn't stutter through it like I did there, but that's essentially what he said. So over the decades, dozens of theories have emerged attempting to explain the haunting. So as we mentioned, the first one is the fabrication of the hoax. Skeptics point out that the most dramatic activity began when Diane and Philip were both teenagers. They argue that pranks, attention-seeking behaviour, or manipulation, of sympathetic adults could account for many of the events. But as we said, there was a number of independent adult witnesses, which complicates this theory. Many of these terrifying incidents occurred in front of these adults, so it can't all have just been a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big word. So another theory is, the PK theory. I'm not going to even try and say that, but parapsychologists sometimes propose that people can unknowingly cause poltergeist-like activity or events through psychokinetic energy, essentially manipulating the physical environment with their minds. So sort of a mind over matter theory. It's largely unproven. I mean, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't know anyone who can do
dreams that you have, isn't it? Like Matilda, it's
exactly like Matilda. Yeah, I mean it's popular popular in paranormal circles, but I mean it's not been proven. There's no way. I mean that'd be a great day, wouldn't it? Breaking news: you can move things with your mind.
It'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, no,
it would
people just get kegged like the street.
Like it would be all right if one person discovered they could do it. If they discovered that everyone could do it,
it would be dangerous, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine that. That sounds like a horror movie in itself, doesn't
it?
Yeah. And then, as we spoke about, so the most widely accepted explanation among believers, is the vengeful spirit of the monk. As we said, it's a black monk or a monk from the 16th century. Who was in the nearby Pontefract Priory, was executed for this horrible crime of the rape and murder of a young child or a young girl. And then he was buried nearby. So that's there's got to be more theories than that, isn't there? But I suppose either it's a hoax, either she's moving it with her mind, or there's a ghost. That's it.
But that is it. I mean, what more can there be unless you start to get into real weird supernatural sort of theories? But all the supernatural theories are still supernatural. So either you believe that some spooky shit's going on.
That's it, isn't it? There's like three.
It's not that.
Yeah, it's either it's science or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's something else. So they're the theories. So one intriguing element of the house is that often gets overlooked is the architecture and interior layout. Visitors and investigators alike have commented that the house feels large on the inside, but it looks quite small from the outside. Several people have even gotten confused or turned around while walking through it. Some rooms feel strangely cold and quiet, while others feel alive, buzzing with energy. One paranormal team used ground-penetrating radar and discovered anomalies under the house, possibly indicating hidden structures or voids, leading to the speculation that the monk may, in fact, be buried below the property.
Right. So a little bit like under churches, they have like crypts and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Could be an old crypt underneath the house.
Something like that. Yeah. So, like monasteries used to have tunnels, didn't they? Because they used to transport wine and beer, and they used tunnels. I don't want to get called out on TikTok for not getting my facts right, or get called the B&M of podcasts again. But
yeah, that hurt one. That one actually hurt.
I did. Well, I quite like B&M, so fuck off. I think B&M is all right. Monasteries did have underground tunnels which they used to transport sort of beer that they would brew at the monastery. Mm-hmm. So maybe this is underneath sort of one of those or something like that. I don't know. I'm scared to say anything just in case I get called out for it. B&M. It's good B&M.
I was going to say something then. Yeah, something that I always think's horrible, actually. See these like crypts type things. So obviously I learned about it when the Queen died. I didn't really know what they did with them. And apparently is it the big chapel, the big cathedral thing in London, that they actually just take them underground, just stick their coffin on like a shelf. And loads of people are in there, like the Queen Mother and Prince Philip. And,
like a crypt?
Yeah.
Like a burial crypt, yeah.
But you can go down there. You can go down the stairs and the Queen's coffin's there. She's just...
Yeah. Well, I don't think... It's not the public can't, can they?
Well, no, not the public. But like, when, say, King Charles dies, then someone will have to take him down there in his box and stick him on another shelf.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they sort of seal it, though, don't they?
It's kind of sealed, but I think...
They seal it with stone, don't they?
Yeah.
Have you never seen these before? Because you get them in big city cemeteries.
Yeah, you see them on like Indiana Jones and stuff as well.
Yeah. So they put the coffin in, then they seal the coffin in, because otherwise the wood would just rot and you'd end up with bodies on the floor.
Yeah. But I thought like the idea of getting buried was that you became part of the earth, but they just, what are they there for? What are they going to do? In 500 years, they'll get them out for a party or something. Like, just seems weird. I don't like it.
It's very weird. That's people pay a lot of money for them.
Yeah,
you get them in like in Paris. There's a big cemetery,
mausoleums and stuff, and I don't like the idea that you might as well get rid of the body. The body's useless.
Yeah, what are we talking about here? What are we going on about? Right. Yeah. Okay. So over the years, many people have come forward with their own explanations at 30s Drive. So here are just a few. So Philip Pritchard years later said that there's no way I could have faked all of it. It scared me then, and it still scares me now. That house, it changed our lives. And this is a neighbour's account in 1968. I came in and saw a lamp lift into the air and crash against the wall. No strings, no wires, just lifted, hovered, then smashed. I didn't go back. And this one's from a ghost tour participant in 2016. They said, I stayed one night and heard heavy breathing in the corridor. I thought I was alone. I left before sunrise. And then this is from a local councilman who wanted to remain anonymous. Not that I've gone out and got these quotes. I've just found them online. Back in the 70s, people would call us about that house all the time. We didn't know what to tell them. It was the strangest case in Pontefract history. I think what used to happen is the lights would get turned on and stuff, and people would hear sort of loud noises from outside and banging and stuff. So they'd call the council or the police, saying, someone's broke in because it was empty. And then they just turn up, there'd be no one there. So by the 2010s, the Black Monk of Pontefract had evolved from a local ghost story into a fully commercialized paranormal legend. While the Pritchard had never sought fame or fortune, the legacy of their experience laid the groundworks for paranormal tourism in the UK. It's something that we were just talking about offline. It seems to be, I don't know if it's peaked, but there's definitely a lot of places you can go and spend the night, and this is one of them. As I mentioned, that producer that produced that film. What was it called again? When the Lights Go Out, or something like that.
I think it was on Lights Go Out, yeah.
Yes, When the Lights Go Out. So Bill Bungay. So as I mentioned, he purchased East 30 East Drive and he's allowed investigators, writers, filmmakers, and curious thrill streak. Oh, I need something in water. He allowed investigators, writers, filmmakers, and curious thrill seekers to stay overnight at the property for a fee. Demand quickly surged. Interest was fueled by social media, YouTube channels, and the growing culture obsessed with the dark tourism, traveling to a site associated with death, trauma, or the unexplained. That's dark tourism. That's what that means. It wasn't long before 30 East Drive became one of the most visited haunted locations in Britain, alongside places like the Ancient Ram, which we discussed previously on one of our pods, Borley Rectory, which I might do at some point, Edinburgh Vaults, and Chillingham Castle. So they're the main ones. I mean, there's loads, isn't there? Britain's full of stuff like this because it's so old.
I've done the Edinburgh Vaults a few times because there's lots. Yes, lots of different tours you can
do. The plague. They just
locked them in
a different city. Yeah,
it was like an underground city, and it's creepy. It is quite creepy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about 30 East Drive, though. Mm-hmm. It's not a ruin or a castle. It's not an ancient building. It's just a council house. Yeah. I think that's what makes it quite creepy. It's just that it could be your house, it could be my house. It's if you believe in ghosts, then you think, they're going to be around castles or ruins or graveyards. But to think there's a violent ghost living in a council house in the middle of Yorkshire, it's kind of a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah, from the sounds of it, though, there could be ruins underneath it. I mean, Yorkshire was one of the medieval times. Yorkshire was a big deal. There was a lot going on in Yorkshire, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, well, like I said, the Pontefract was big place in relation to the Civil War, the English Civil War. So there's a lot of battles nearby and things like that. So yeah, but it just, again, what's a ghost then? Does it tie itself to the land? I think that's what is quite scary about it. Is it's just a normal house that was just built. Was the monk there before the house? Did he just walk around the field, and then the house got built up, and then he just moved in there? It's just weird.
Yeah. Maybe he's mad because he can't get his beer out of the tunnel or something. I don't know.
So some believe the entity in the property is not a ghost at all, but a demonic presence. This theory stems from the extreme violence and hatred towards Diane, the appearance of scratches and bruises, and the sinister monk-like appearance. So people say that sometimes demons, they'll often mock religious symbols or religious characters. So this is people who've looked at this figure and gone, well, maybe it is not a ghost, it might be a demon sent from hell. In Christianity, demonology, demons often take on twisted forms of religious figures, such as monks, nuns, and priests. So it could be that the Black Monk isn't a monk; it's just a demon from somewhere, from hell. Others claim, as we've mentioned, it could just be a residual haunting from this chap, this monk who passed away and did all those horrible things.
The Exorcism movie, was that a demon? I
think so.
Yeah, that was like a demon that possessed a girl, wasn't it?
Yeah, she let her in by using the Ouija board, didn't she?
Yes. Yeah. You still want to do yours?
What?
Your Ouija board.
Oh, with the Ouija board. Yeah, I don't want to do it with me. I'm not doing it in this house though. Let's go and do it at 30 East Drive.
Yeah, true.
Take it down there.
Yeah, but are you moving soon? You could do it like the night before you move, and then leave it there for the new people.
Yeah, could do. Just paint a bit massive one of them pentagrams on the floor before I go. So the Pritchard family in later years, so they largely withdrew from public discussion after the 1970s. So Jean, the mother, remained reluctant to talk about it, even in later interviews. Just simply saying she'd wish that none of it had ever happened. Diane never made a full public statement as an adult. Many believe that the psychological toll on her experience was lasting and deep. Philip, however, has occasionally spoken to journalists and authors. His position is consistent, and it's simply, I don't know what happened, but it wasn't normal. None of them, which is sought fame, money, or sensationalism, which is quite interesting. They just simply, quite interesting. Sorry, they just simply wanted it to end. So they've not. There are lots of cases where people have claimed something's happened in their house, and then they just keep. It's constantly in the news. It's constantly not in the news, but they constantly make the same claim over and over to journalists and things like that, where this didn't happen in the Pritchard case. They just wanted it to go away. So, as I mentioned before, numerous guests, especially those who spend the night, report disturbing dreams, nightmares, even some physical illness. People get a sensation of something following them or watching them as they walk through the house. There's been various accounts of sleeping paralysis, hallucinations. But then we always say this when we do ghost stuff. Is it just fear-induced anxiety because you know you're going to this property and you're going to be spending the night there? Or is it something else? I mean, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been that for the first people.
For the Pritchards, no?
Yeah.
So they're saying it's not normal, it's something was happening there.
Yeah, so it's not going to be fear-induced anxiety if you're the first person it happens to. If they
hoax it, if they say, all this stuff's happened, then when you go there, if I take you to stay somewhere for a night, and I go, do you know what, mate? Loads of weird stuff's happened in this hotel. It's dead creepy.
Yeah.
There's a figure that's been spotted in the corner of the room that you're staying in. Your mind starts going, oh shit. Then I just go, right, night, see you. And then all night you're thinking, that's a bit spooky, isn't it? So for the first people, they could be the people who hoax it, and then from that point, then this anxiety kicks in. That's anyway.
The first thing I always think when I hear a ghost story is, where's the profit? So the person telling the ghost story, where's the benefit? Where's the profit? And by the sounds of it, the people telling the ghost story in the first place, in this case, there is no benefit and there is no profit.
No. If anything, it's particularly back in the sort of 60s and 70s, you don't want to say your house is haunted because no one's going to buy it.
No.
It reduces your asset, reduces the value of your property. So, but and they've never done any, they've never written any books about it. They've never done any sort of public interviews and things like that. I mean, I can't imagine that the chap's still dead, the father. But, anyway, he must be getting, no, surely not. I wouldn't have thought so. So that's pretty much, as I say, I do have more material, but I don't think it's worth going into, to be honest. There's loads of other stuff. If you're really interested in it, there are other pods and YouTube channels, etc. I think there are books. Go and watch the film. I've heard it's quite good. It's like a B movie. It's quite low budget, but I've heard it's all right. So, which I might watch it. I should have watched it before this, but I think I'm going to give it a watch. But that's essentially the tale of the Black Monk of Pontefract and 30 East Drive. That's the tale. I suppose it's not really over, is it? It's still going on.
Well, yeah.
You can go there. The house still stands. The monk is still seen, apparently, and people still go and visit. And apparently, when they leave, they feel as though they've been changed forever. Some houses grow old, crumble, and are forgotten. And then some places are charged with human energy, fear, and death. And they never really let go of what happened there and events that took place, sometimes even years ago. Perhaps that's why visitors leave the lights on after returning home, or why they avoid looking into the corners that are in the dark, or why some of them say, I went to Pontefract and I felt something, and I know what I saw. The monk doesn't care if you believe him, because that never mattered. But he is still there, apparently. So that's it. That's me. I'm done.
It's a fascinating story. Like I said, I think that you don't believe in ghosts. I don't really believe in ghosts. I don't have anything to make me believe in them. But I think a little bit like when I did the Yuba County Five, the lads that were the alien abduction story. The first thing always looked like I've just said is, where is the profit? What's the motive? And when you hear a story like this, occasionally you think, this one, I don't see where the motive is. And there's a lot of witnesses and there's a lot of stuff going on. And it's not just tales, there's lamps getting lifted and thrown, witnessed by neighbours and stuff. Yeah, I'm not saying, oh, well, that means that it's definitely a ghost. But you said something interesting about the controlling stuff with your mind. And I think there's a lot about energies that we still don't fully understand. Like there's the energy I've always wondered is when you're alive, it's biological energy. And as soon as you die, you go very quickly quite cold. And I'm not saying that there's a ghost, but could there be a release of like an energy coming out of your body? That's when someone dies, people say, I felt a presence in the room and all that sort of stuff. It's just
potentially, yeah.
Like a kind of a release of energy. And it could just be, there could be magnetic fields or anything just around where that house is that could be causing.
That's another interesting theory, yeah. We might look at that at another point. There has been studies on sort of electrical magnetic fields being sort of in areas and how they affect people's minds and mood and things like that. Yeah, you're right. I've never seen a ghost, so I can't say that I believe in them. I'd like to, but I just can't see how they are real. What's interesting in these cases, and you've got cases like the Enfield haunting, which is quite similar actually. It always seems to be teenagers that are impacted the most, and more often than not, it's teenage girls. Now, I don't know whether that's because there's some sort of like biological thing that's going on in their minds that makes them perhaps more susceptible to spirits or otherworldly things, or whether it's something else, something more scientific. But it does seem strange that it is like, as it was in this case with Diane, that largely when you get these famous hauntings, it seems to be sort of teenage girls that are impacted more than any other member of the family. I think you're absolutely right in relation to the profiteering of some cases. So have you heard of the Amityville case?
Yeah.
So that, we could do that at some point, but that was a guy who claimed he was possessed and killed his family, and then it just kept on snowballing. And they made an absolute fortune off it. Books, I think there's about 10 movies about it now. Things like that. And that just, for me, just screams, no, there's nothing. That is just a profiteering thing. Surely it's a hoax. Whereas this, you can make a lot of money out of this because it sounds fucking terrifying. It's in a quaint British town, and it's in one of these lovely, I say it's a council house. People our age and a bit younger would absolutely love a house like that. They're absolutely like, they're so well built and so nice. So it's a lovely terraced house, and it just seems so normal, which makes it more scary. So tell us your thoughts. Drop us a comment. Be nice, because I'm very sensitive. Drop us a coffee so we can go and stay here. If someone wants to do that, I will do it.
I'd
do it. I'd well do it. So and then we could do an episode there, an episode where we do a Ouija board. That'd be stupid, wouldn't it?
Brilliant.
It's absolute negligence on our part there.
We'd both be dead, killed by a ghost with egg on our face,
dragged up the stairs by the monk. Thrown on the bed. Communicate with us. We love it.
Excellent.
And we'll see you. Well, I'm done now. So it's you next. And I think there's a little thing on the new technology that we've got. There it is. That's what's coming next, guys.
Yes.
So tune in.
Yes, a trigger warning. It's a horrible one.
Is it?
Right. It's gruesome.
Cool. In that case, then I will. Unless you got anything else.
No, that's me, James. It's good to get back. Missed it.
Cool.
But we'll be recording again in 2 days. So I'll see you soon.
All right. I'll bid you good night. Take care.
Take care. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.